So despite a pretty awful site-wide sale early on in the month, February ended up being pretty awesome. And in this video, we're going to go over an overview of the month, see what went well, what didn't go quite so well, look at some goals that I had set for February that I may or may not have achieved, and then look at some goals for March. So first, let's look at some overall big picture numbers as far as the store is concerned. While technically the store has existed since the early 2010s, I really didn't take it seriously until January of this year. I started the year with 7 products and 1 bundle. In January, I got up to 11 products and 1 bundle, and over the course of February, I am now up to 15 products and 4 bundles. I've been steadily increasing my store size and activity, and while I'm not blowing up or going viral or anything of that sort, the results are speaking for themselves. While the number of products that I've had has increased by about 4 each month, this month I really focused on creating products specifically that I could put in bundles with other products that I'd already created, therefore generating more overall content and more opportunities to upsell whenever I have a customer interested in my products. I'm not going to get too deep in what upselling is, but essentially the idea is when you've attracted a customer's attention in something small, you entice them in some way to spend more money. And that's kind of what bundles often do. Take this Careers in Culinary Arts slideshow project as an example. This is one of my best-selling products that I've created in the last couple months. It's getting a decent number of hits from people searching, and as they look at the product, they scroll down and they can see that not only is there this project, but there's also a bundle of projects that are very similar that they could purchase for just a little bit more money and get a discount on those by buying more than one. I do have a video planned for later on this month that'll get into a lot more detail on how I choose which product to make next. And one of the things that I factor into those choices is whether or not this new item can be bundled with something that I already have. Kind of got off on a tangent here about bundling and upselling. Let's get back to the main topic. I'm going to save this for another video. So let's look at some key metrics moving from January to February and how they compare and how the store is growing. So what you're seeing here is my views from January. Views were one thing that I really wanted to work on. I wanted to look at increasing the traffic to my store. And unfortunately, I didn't do a lot of actual work targeting this metric, but this number 101 in the last month I described as, I think I used the word paltry because it seemed too low for what I'd like to see. And I had a significant increase in February. Let's look at February's numbers real quick. 205. Doubled it. And one thing that I love about the difference between January and February is if you go back to January, you can see that I had some days here with 0 views, literally nobody at all looking at my products. February, on the other hand, had only 1 day that suffered from that issue. Every other day I was getting at least some views. And keep in mind when you're running a business, every view is an opportunity for someone to spend money in your store. So you really want to drive traffic to your store so you can give more people opportunities to make purchases. And again, I didn't do anything specifically to target this metric this month. Things were pretty busy. But what did happen is I did continue adding more products to my store. So even though I was not doing anything to specifically target this metric, I was still growing my inventory. I was still growing the products that were there that people could be searching for. And that by itself in time is going to grow your traffic, because the more products you have, the more opportunities that people are going to spot you in search results. So I was really happy with the outcome on this metric. Along with those extra views came extra units sold. So over the course of January, sold 7 things. Over the course of February, 10. Now, that's not a huge increase. In fact, my conversion rate actually went down some. But what I did notice was a huge increase in my actual earnings. And that happened for 2 reasons. One, I created more bundles. So I have higher priced items in my store for people to purchase. And I sold several of those bundles over the course of the month. So even though I only sold 3 more products than what I normally would sell, I sold more expensive products than what I normally sell. And that led to a big increase in my earnings. How big of an increase? Well, let's look. In January, I made $19.83. In February, I made $41.70. That's more than double, even though I only sold 3 more items. Now, I can only attribute some of that increase to the increase in the number of bundles in my store, because one of my goals for February was to figure out the correct time to go premium. And I did. I figured it out. I did the math. I came up with a solution. I found what I believe to be the most mathematically sound time that you should purchase premium. And for me, it was actually in December. I should have done it several months ago. But as soon as I realized that I should have done it a long time ago, I immediately went ahead and made the purchase. And so for the second half of the month, even though I had spent $60, I was earning more on each individual product. Now you might be thinking, what's that mathematical formula? What is the most mathematically sound time to make the investment? I'm not going to go into detail about it in this video, but only because I've already filmed my video for next week, and it is all about that tool that I created to help come to the right conclusion. So next week, we're going to take a deep dive into the math of when is the best time mathematically to make that investment. You might be surprised. It doesn't match up with a lot of the advice that I've seen other YouTubers and other people on social media make or give about when to make that jump. If you're interested in that, now is a great time for you to hit subscribe and that handy little bell button so that when that video goes live, you get a little notification and you don't miss out. I'll be sharing not just the math that goes into that decision making, but also a tool that you can use to just plug in the numbers from your most recent sales, and it'll tell you. You'll be able to find out right away whether now is the right time for you to make the investment in premium. So I'm super excited to get that into people's hands, but that's next week. So let's get back to this month's sales report. The last thing that I said that I wanted to focus on in February was making sure that my YouTube watchers have something of value at the other end if they choose to click the link in the description and see my store. I haven't done a ton of this in February because I've been a little distracted with work, but also because I've been so focused on developing the tool that I'm going to be sharing next week that I mentioned a second ago. Again, don't get distracted, Josh. Stay on topic. But what I did do was create a banner that would point you essentially toward a specific document that I created that collects a lot of the entrepreneurship and specifically Teachers Pay Teachers resources that I've been leaning on as I start this journey, and some of them that have benefited me over time as I've developed online sales and stores and social media accounts elsewhere. And don't worry, if you've been following along, I didn't put any content in there that was specific to like developing a gaming channel, but instead I've collected things that are specific to Teachers Pay Teachers. For example, the YouTube channels of other YouTubers that I think give pretty solid advice and are fun to watch and learn from, as well as some really good reading material that you can grab and pick up and read, and some podcasts that I listen to on a regular basis to and from work while I'm doing the dishes or mowing the lawn or handling other random chores around the house. All really good sources of information. If you hop over to my store, that is right here on the left in my featured products, and it is free. Lots of good tips and advice from others who are either in this Teachers Pay Teachers journey also, or just in a general entrepreneurship zone and offering advice on making money and giving back and developing a business regardless of what industry you happen to be in. That is a free download. You're welcome to go pick it up. I think it'll help you. It's certainly helped me, and I enjoyed creating it and sharing it. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about in this video is what goals I have for next month. So in March, I have 3 goals that I'd like to work on for my store. One is to continue creating products at the same pace that I have been creating them at, about 1 per week. So about 4 in a month. I've been able to maintain that pretty steadily in 2022, and I want that to be the minimum that I produce each month. So that's going to be a running goal for the entirety of the year, unless I come to a point where 4 feels too easy to achieve, and at that point I'll raise it higher. The second thing I want to work on in March is increasing the traffic to my store, and not just the natural traffic that comes with having more products in your store, which is what I've been relying on before. I'm going to be testing some of the other means of growing traffic to your website. Once I've done some of those tests and tried some of those things out, I'll be sharing whether or not I think they're worth the time and effort, and I'll show you my results. My last goal is that I want to look for continued ways to build up the Teachers Pay Teachers seller community. I've already shared my free PDF on my store. I'm looking for more things that I can share there. I have the tool that I'll be releasing next week to help brand new Teachers Pay Teachers sellers decide whether or not premium is worth it. And I've got a few more ideas, but I'm curious, what do you need? What would help you in your Teachers Pay Teachers journey? I'm specifically looking for ways that I can help you. So if you have a question, if you have a conundrum of some sort, I would love to help you out. If I don't know the answer, I will do my best to find it for you. So if you have one of those questions, please drop it down in the comments below. I'd love to collaborate with you and help you out. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're interested in career exploration materials, you are welcome to click on my TPT Store, which will be down in the description below. And if you're looking for elementary resources or art resources, my wife's store will be linked in the description below as well. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.